Hello, guys. Welcome to the On the Horizon podcast. I'm Jaquella Pearson. We're my hosts, Kyra,
Renaya.
And my angel.
with our guests.
Ahava Elyon.
Okay, and today we're going to be interviewing him.
I got the first question.
Okay.
Okay, what inspired you to become involved in community activism?
Community activism. I would say just, being dissatisfied how I thought things were, But, I don't know how much real community activism I've done. I've done it in my own way, you know, just trying to just do my thing and then hopefully encourage other people and let them know that they can do the same thing. That's been my contribution to community activism. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you describe a specific moment that reinforced your commitment to this work?
I say some of it is like the desire to want to take care of your family,
Right.
and the desire to want to do something that you enjoy doing every day. That's the main thing I think that we should all be focusing on. Like when you want to start a business or something like that, you should pick something that you really love to do rather than think of something like that can just make you a lot of money. Because just because it makes you a lot of money, it's not guaranteed to always do that. And then when it's slow, you'll be like, I really don't feel like doing this no more because it's only for the money. But if you love to do it and it's almost like a hobby to you, you'll get up and do it every day for free. And then the money is like the icing on top,
Right.
Yeah.
What are your biggest challenges facing your community right now? How are you addressing them?
The biggest challenges facing our community right now, I would think that it might be an attitude, and I think that we are practicing stuff that ain't really the best for us. Music, the stuff that we are attracted to, I think that sometimes it's poison. And you have to really monitor what you are taking into your body. So look, in our bodies, we got our eyes, we got our nose, we got our ears. This is how things enter into our body from these different portals and points. Okay, and your body is a container. And so you can put so much stuff into your body, right? And then after a while, once a container gets full, what happens? It overflows. Okay? So if you're putting a lot of just like, let's say we putting a lot of drill music into our container every day, right? What's it doing? It's stacking up in our body until the point that it overflows. And then the overflow that we see is the action of now you the one doing the drill. Now you the one like acting like lit, crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like almost uncivilized. So I think we need family structure. Okay? When you guys are deciding that y'all are going to have a family or choosing somebody that you're going to be with, you have to really make it count and make sure that this is a person that you can be with for the rest of your life. Or at least it might not work out like that, but it should have that structure so we can build family. We need good, strong family values. And then once everybody is participating and having good, strong family values, then I would think that we would have good, strong communities, right? And then after we're building our communities, then we would see, I think better attitudes and, just a better outlook on life, and we would be doing a little better.
Okay. How do you engage and motivate community members to get involved?
Just by example. a lot of people don't want to be preached at. And just because I'm doing it, people will look at me and say, like, yeah, bro, that's you. They might say, you smart, bro. But I didn't have that lick, or it's going to take too long for me to get to where you're at. So by me just constantly telling people, like, you can do this, you can do that, like, you need to subtly get that in there to them, just like small doses of it so they understand, And then I think another good thing that we can do to motivate, like, if somebody is looking up to you, I think that it's all right for us to share some of our challenges too. We can share some of our bad days, because it lets them know, like, even good people have bad days. And just because you have a bad day don't mean that you're a bad person or you're having a bad life. It just means that it was just a bad day, just like everybody else. So, just try to lead by example for the most part.
I got a question in regards to that, just a follow up.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about not only sharing like the successes, but also like the struggles of what made it hard to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk to them about how long you've been in business? You can talk about all of them. But I know T-shirt King's been around since, I was hi. My mom knew about you. You made a shirt for my high school graduation.
Okay.
So just talk to them about how long you've been around, some of the successes and failures you have, how you overcome like those challenges, and then how it's helped you become who you are today in the business world.
Okay, cool. So I've had my store, Gold for Your Mouth. I've been doing that for 26 years. I started in 1999. And Gold for Your Mouth essentially has just been the umbrella or the parent company or the foundation for every little other thing that I wanted to try. It's really like a upbeat, fun business that it just allows me to be creative. In any way. I can make funny commercials. I can make like lit commercials, kind of like urban commercials, and all different people from different walks of life like Golds for whatever reason. And so from there, I've been doing T-shirt Kings now for 20 years. I started doing that in 2005. And every month is a challenge. Every week is a challenge. Like having your own business, the good part about it is that any day somebody might call me and say, bro, I want an order for something that's going to be $30,000 or $40,000. One sale can be like that. It doesn't always happen like that, but the possibility is always there when you have a business. Now, when you have a job and you're going to work for somebody, you know how much you're going to make. That's the good thing about a job. You got security, As long as the job is a reputable business, you know that every week you're going to get your paycheck. So you don't have that a business owner, like somebody might call me and I might make a sale, or nobody can come in. We have plenty of days where nobody comes in the whole day, and I still got to pay the people that are working here for their time. So that's the challenge with a business. The business is just, you really never know. But the possibility of hitting that major lick every day is always right there. And, I think I go on that side. I'd rather risk, because I know that I'm going to work hard. If you work as hard for yourself as you do for someone else. So let's take McDonald's, for example, okay? If you go to McDonald's, they got a rule that says if you can lean, you can clean. All right? That means if you chilling, you should be cleaning something up. So that means you are in motion for McDonald's your whole shift, 8 hours a day. All right, so now let's go to translate that to you guys' world with creating TikTok, creating your social media and posting, right? Because you can get monetized and get paid for that. So let's say that you approach your TikTok like that. You like, man, for 5 hours, I'm going to dedicate myself to this particular post. You're going to go in there, you're going to create your post. Then not only are you going to create it, you're going to share it, you're going to run ads on it, you're going to send it to all your friends, you're going to post it on YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram Reels, just everything, just like really dedicate yourself, and then dedicate yourself to making a good quality video that you know is going to be fire content. If you put that same energy towards your own thing that you do for McDonald's, lo and behold, you're going to start making way more money for yourself than you would if you were working for somebody else. So you want to make sure that you just go hard for yourself. You cannot be too cool. One thing that I do know, like I've seen other business owners, not from kids, but just like really adults, they'll create a business, but then they so smooth, they really don't want to get out here and promote it. They feel like people just gonna find out about them from, whatever, word of mouth. And, word of mouth is good business because it's free, but you can't solely depend on that in order to get new customers. You have to go out and be aggressive for yourself and pass out flyers or get social media, like send messages or direct messages. It might be a little spammy, but if you got a fire product, I'm doing you a favor by telling you about this thing because it's something that you can actually utilize to benefit. So that's the thing about having a business, the pros and cons,
Okay, what role does social media play in your activism, and how do you use it effectively?
Social media plays a huge role. I think that that's the fastest way to spread a message. Huh? Okay. Did you have something?
No.
But social media right now, I think that that's the fastest way to spread a message to a large amount of people without you physically going to the places that they're at. So it's a critical role to communicate through social media, and you need to be doing it in a creative way. And another trick to social media, I don't know, because I'm not the person that goes viral a lot on just like organic content, which means like we go viral because I run ads. So like what I'll do is once I got something that I know that's good, I just run ads, and then it normally comes back to me in sales. Okay. But for somebody else that's not necessarily a business person, but they just want to create content for entertainment purposes, like you want to go in and you want to create that fire content. But then on the other side of that, I think that you also need to support other people's pages, liking their stuff, maybe commenting on their stuff. And then the way that it should work is I comment on your stuff, you come and check out, see who I am, then boom. Not unless the person is real famous, then that'll probably be so many contents. But while you're growing your stuff, you want to kind of like y'all come up together. You guys all support each other. Y'all all like, share, subscribe, comment. And then that'll help boost all of you guys' algorithm on y'all's personal pages to get your stuff shown more.
Okay, can you share a success story from your activism that had a significant impact?
I think my book is a good success story. I got a book that talks about some of the things that happened when I was a kid. My mom was passed away. She was killed when I was a kid, and I was able to write that story. And I feel like a lot of people went through similar situations because after reading it, they done came through and be like, dang, bro, I went through something similar to that. So I think that that's one thing that I was kind of like really talking about a lot. And I feel like other people was kind of like tapped in,
Where can we get your book though?
You can get my book here at the shop, or I got it on Amazon or on my website, Walmart.com. All that.
What obstacles have you faced in your activism, and how have you overcome them?
Obstacles is just, staying motivated, staying creative, constantly promoting, staying open. That's the main thing. It's just, it's always day to day. You never know. You just never know what you got coming in necessarily. You can schedule people months and months out, but then after those months go, will people continue to come? And then you have different seasons that are better than others. So getting through struggling seasons and stuff like that,
Okay. How do you collaborate with other organizations, activists, or government officials to create change?
Well, I use my podcast and my media. Most of the people who ran for election in Dayton, like the local politicians, those people all came through and jumped on the podcast. You know, we gave them an opportunity to share what they was running for, what type of change that they was trying to make in the community. So that's one thing that I normally do. And then something else that we do that's I feel like is very powerful is we make shirts for companies. You know, and it's branding. It gives them an opportunity to advertise, promote what they do, and and it all work out well, you know.
Okay. What are some misconceptions people have about activism, and how do you challenge them?
Let me ask y'all this. When you say activists, what are we talking about?
So I kind of helped them come up with like theme, and I was just talking about like how you are very involved in the community and have different businesses.
Yeah.
So we not really harping on that word.
Okay.
Activists, like out there.
Yeah, to be like
label and stuff.
protesting necessarily. But I have done that type of stuff too, though. But I just want to make sure that I'm like answering. I'm giving y'all the answers
We
that
talking
y'all
about your
looking for.
involvement.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all just asked a question. If y'all did, my bad. But I had one. So I know you had like the Ohio Kings.
Yeah.
And some of the youth basketball teams.
Right.
Can you tell us how you started that and why it's important to get to the youth while they're still young? You know, because a lot of our youth, you know, they have a lot of influences and things that aren't necessarily positive going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important for you to start that organization?
Man, you know, I started Ohio Kings basketball because I like basketball in general. And I'm competitive like that. And I thought that it was just a fun thing to do, honestly. But now I see the impact that something like that makes. So I started a group of kids when they was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. And these are lifelong friendships. Their families have came together. People done got married and long-lasting friendships. And the kids done, like my Trotwood team, that just lost in the regional finals. Those was all my kids out there on the court that I started when they was in the 3rd grade. So I just see that it gives kids something positive to do too, you know. At least they hooping instead of, you know what I'm saying, being in the streets, getting into trouble or something. And you learn a lot from basketball. You learn a lot from sports. There's a lot of life lessons to be learned in sports and in anything if you just kind of can put the illustrations together. But the team sport is very good for kids. You know, it can also be a distraction and it can be very wasteful too. So you need balance in there. But with the Ohio Kings and my Dayton Swish kids, I think that we formed long-lasting, forever bonds. You know what I'm saying? With me, without me, and all these different certain like little cliques and groups inside, because I had hundreds of kids come through the program and the parents and kids are still all down together. It builds, it's very structured. It's a lot of structure in there.
Okay, what advice would you give to younger people who want to get involved in activism?
I would say, you know, just follow your heart with it. Be vocal about it, you know, be strong. Make sure you understand the issue before you go out and be rah about anything. Make sure that you understand what's going on in your community. You know, like you can't be the only rich person in a poor community, right? What happens if you're the only rich person in a poor community?
Get robbed.
You get robbed. If everybody is, I got a whole stash of food in my house, right? And we talking about nobody else has anything. It's mass starvation going outside. What's gonna happen?
Come and get that food.
Exactly. So you can't be the only one doing good in a poor place. So it's to all of our benefit for us to make sure that we lifting each other up so we can all live with each other peacefully, so we can all have food. So you don't have to worry about your stuff being taken Because once you go and you move out of your community, okay, you say, well, I am the only rich person in this community and I don't want to be here anymore. But then you go to another community. It's not a guarantee that they want to see you coming. You know, you try to go move to a rich community and you pull up banging. They like, I'm talking about listening to music. You pull up, they feeling like, bro, they about to ruin this neighborhood. So we got the opportunity to make the most of ourselves, but like we really don't gotta go nowhere and try to find a better place when we have every tool that's needed in order to fix ourselves. We are enough, like for sure. Man, we are like more than enough to be like great. But it starts with you guys, and it starts with that family. It starts with making sure that you are there. You know, it starts with a lot of love, man. You have to have that love element in there. That's for the person that you start your family with, and it's the love for your child to make sure that they are on point in every way. You have to. It's critical. It's critical. So you have to, you gotta know who you are sharing your life with and make sure that that person deserves it. For the bros, for the young ladies, for us all. Because you can't go back. You know what I'm saying? Once you get ready to have a child or something like that, you can't go back and be like, oh, now I wish I would have did this or I wish I would have did that. I mean, you can still make it regardless if you got two parents living in the house or not. But we just talking about balance and what's going to be best for our community. And it starts with a strong, balanced family. To me, in my opinion, okay? All right.
Okay, how do you balance the emotional toll of activism with self-care and sustainability?
Say it for me one more time.
How do you balance the emotional toll of activism with self-care and sustainability?
That's a good question. You just gotta find some ways to chill out sometimes. You know, it can be hard when you have your own business or let's just say that you are a serious activist that really is going out to just, you know, like force change in the community by speaking up and using your voice. With that situation, I would figure out how to champion causes that really mean something and not just be ready for smoke, any little thing. You know what I'm saying? You ever know somebody that just like can't wait? They can't wait for something to go wrong so they can go off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been waiting their whole life for this. So I would want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be like that with activism. Don't be like that. Just when you get into politics, you guys will see this a little bit later. This is the thing that I got a problem with politics. You got Democrats and what? Republicans. So what I see is there's an issue that'll pop up and all the Democrats agree on this side and then all the Republicans agree with that. To me, that doesn't seem real. It just seemed like you a follower at this point, because just because your party said, man, I don't agree with this, now you got to say it too. When really you, in your heart, you like, nah, I do agree with that. So my problem with politics is, like, if you're an activist on a political level and just because your party aligns with something, I don't think that you should be like fighting those battles just because somebody else say it's wrong. Know that it's wrong in your own heart and then champion the cause.
Okay, how do you measure the success of effort and what does progress look like to you?
Measure the success of effort, my own effort. I mean, if the goal get accomplished, you know, how close did I get to accomplishing this goal? You know, and it ain't over until you quit. You know, just because you don't get it on the first try or it's taking a little longer than you expect, it's like that. That's how it happens, you know. The value comes when you put that time in there. And then the journey makes you understand the process of a lot. Like I just created an app called Run Pick Quick. We deliver, we just go and run errands for people simply. But making the app, I thought that it was gonna be done in 2 weeks. It's done a little, but it's got bugs in it, and it needs to. Bugs means like little things that ain't working right that we got to go back in and fix, and then that'll be fixed, but then it'll mess up again, and then it'll mess up again. So I could easily be like, bro, this ain't working, you know, or I could just be like, no, hold on, stick in there, stay. We almost there. We almost there. You always almost there, you know, and working milestones too. Working milestones like. Get it for sale as soon as possible and then improve it while it's on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like anything, we update apps essentially. You know, they always updating apps, but it was for sale, but then they made it better and they updated it, but they made sure that they was getting it out there as soon as they could. You guys asking some great questions too.
Can you describe a time when you had to adapt or change your strategy to become more effective?
Like all the time. Like all the time. Right now, I'll tell you a situation right now, what I'm going through. Having a big building like this to me is a little outdated. I really feel like I could get the most out of just like doing things online for real, because it'll cut the overhead cost of stuff. So like I'm thinking about sometimes like maybe not having as big of a location and then just doing local delivery, you know, like but I've had to adapt plenty of times, man. I've had to change locations before. I done had to get bigger places, so I've had to downsize before. But the main thing is you just stay available and keep rolling. You know, work on the level that you at, and whatever you got, make the most of it, and then elevate from there.
What long-term changes do you hope to see in your community, and what steps are needed to achieve them?
I go back to the family thing. I just want to see stronger families, better community, more consciousness, you know, a lot more consciousness, a lot more awareness, a lot more thought. I want us to tap into our genius, you know, use our wit for righteousness, you know. That's what I want from our community. Because I know we got it, but like I don't know if y'all do this at you guys' school, but there is kind of like a vibe, or there's a thought that say like a kid that's like in school that's like super focused and just going crazy on his books and everything, he might not be looked at as powerful, or you know. But I want us to reward genius a lot more and intellect, and then I think that we'll be headed in the right direction.
How can people outside your community support your cause and contribute to meaningful change?
Just probably just come to the shop and get shirts for their business. Like, you know, it'll be a fair exchange. The coming through here definitely does help me, but I want to make sure that we give back more than what we take in. You know, we gonna go the extra mile and do more than what's expected. And then when we do that, you know, it's a circle. It's everybody is getting value. You know, we just want to give value for people coming through.
That's the end of On the Horizon. Oh, you got a question?
I got a question about the book. What challenges do you have? What challenges have you encountered in the publishing industry, and how do you navigate them as a Black author?
The challenge is just to get your book in front of as many people as possible. Let people know that it's available. Being able to kind of like just share your story. You know, not the actual book, but go on podcasts like this, talk about the book, you know, and get people interested to buy it, you know. And that's the challenges. And I publish myself. I got my own publishing company, and I started my own publishing company, and it's but of course I just did it all myself. So like we don't have the backing that probably some major publishing house has. So it takes me to be able to get out and get in front of these cameras and set up my own stuff. So trying to balance that with all the other stuff that I'm doing, you know, it just need to be organized and structured so I can get the most out of it, the most out of my time.
Any more questions? Okay, that's the end of On the Horizon podcast. Thank you.
That was
Anybody have more questions? Or want to know more about the business side or anything? It has to do with business, personal stuff, anything. If y'all have questions, if y'all can't think of them now, I'm gonna have y'all do it as exit ticket and then send them your way. Kind of
yeah.
But before we go, definitely make sure you thank them. If you, like I said, if you got any personal questions, you can do it on the side.
So what advice would you give a person that's trying to open a business?
Pick something that you love to do. Pick something that you love to do that you can just do every day and you're going to make it major, right? That you're really interested in. And you should be doing something as a hobby so much, like creating, putting something together, that people be like, dang, that's kind of major. How much you want for that? Or how much you charge to do that? When you wasn't even really thinking about selling it, you know? Then there it is. And my other suggestion of, if you want to start a business, where I think the most lucrative path is something that you enjoy doing and something that solves a problem. Solving a problem. Right? That's what you want to do. And I think that's the way to go.
I got a question. So what inspired you to like start your business?
Wanted to, because I knew I had to get money some kind of way, and having my own business was cool. You know, I wasn't a person that was like, they just knew I was gonna start a business or none of that. I got blessed into having my business, and I just kept it for all these years. But the point is, you know, once you get something that comes to you, like, value it and don't fumble. If it's good, do not fumble. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hang on to it.
Yeah, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any support like when you first started?
Yeah, I did. Yes, because like I said, I was working at a place called Dash Communications, right? Dash Communications was a phone store. And so this was like way back in 1998, 1999. And the owner couldn't keep it anymore. But I was working there. So I said, well, listen, instead of you closing this place down, won't you let me take it? And then I'll still pay you rent a little, you know, each month. And he agreed to doing it. And so was the blessing, because I didn't have like a college degree or was like in business or nothing like that. I did have I used to rap and I had CDs out, so I did kind of like have that, but I wasn't looking at that as a business really. I was just like, I got CDs and stuff, so selling them. But with so once I got that, I loved it so much because I was making my own money. I would walk out of the shop every day with a bankroll, you know, even if it was just $100 or $300 or something, it was still mine, and I got it legally, and it was just really nice. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can to keep this rolling. So I learned how to promote real quick, and I was something else that I did. I thought that it was cool to like have, like, I would create business cards and have like my picture on it. It was like, I still do the same thing to this day because it makes me feel a little more proud when I'm passing out my card. I'm like, this is me. Come through. Flyers, business cards, and this was, this is like 25 years ago, but I would still be at every club because we doing cell phones, we doing gold for your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So could go into the environments that was like good for young people, but I was in there passing out my business cards and just like, so I was really loving everything about it. And then I started putting commercials on TV and started getting more notoriety in the community. People was being like, oh, bro, I seen your commercial, all feeding my ego. So I'm like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. People knowing what's going on. And so that was giving me adrenaline to say, okay, hold on, let me hit them with this. Let me come back with this. And then so it was more like, it was the business itself, but it was also the process that I was really enjoying. It wasn't like I was doing no business for real. It was just like I was just kicking it and getting money. So pick something that you really like, and then you'll enjoy doing it. That's the point.
Oh, I know, bro. Has a few more questions.
Come on.
But I wanted to ask for advice for like young entrepreneurs. So one of the young ladies at the desk, she can do hair, right? So she does hair. But it takes a long time sometimes. And as far as when you first start out, you're trying to figure out what price point you should do. So it's benefiting you, but also not bust in the pockets of the customer.
That
so
balance.
How you kind of navigate that and balance that?
So choosing a price, I mean, I think that you should kind of look around to see how much the going rate on something is, and then find your spot right there. Now, when you first starting out, I would take a little less than what somebody else is charging, especially doing hair is very good. Okay. It's a service business. This is something else I wanted to tell you guys too. When you're trying to pick a business, I would find something that is a service versus a product. And the reason why is if we can't go to the bank and get a loan or get a bunch of money to go out and buy, let's say we selling car radios, okay, or even clothes, like let's say we was just selling polo shirts or whatever in the front, but not like custom shirts. We just selling like shirts like how Macy's is or any other store. You gotta come out your pocket, go and buy all this inventory, and then pray that somebody's gonna come into the shop and take it off your hands, right? So you'll get your money back. But if we got a job like, let's say we are walking dogs, doing hair, cutting grass, right? These are jobs that, okay, bet I got to go buy a lawnmower, but after that, that's it. Now I'm getting paid off of my effort. T-shirt kings. When I first started, we would just design the shirts. I used to tell customers, you got to bring your own shirts. And I elevated a little bit to now I do got some stock shirts in the front, but normally I want bulk orders where people gonna come through, give me the money, then I go buy their shirts with their own money, not mine, right? Service, design, and then we work it out. We print on the print and press downstairs. And I want y'all to come back another time. We'll do T-shirt kings and we'll go downstairs and make shirts. We'll print shirts. We'll print some Horizon shirts in here or something. You know what I'm saying?
You make these honor roll ones too, right?
Yeah. But we'll do that. We'll go downstairs and get on the screen printing and
Y'all did Miss Davis shirt too.
Did Miss Davis, yeah. But we'll do that. But what I was gonna say was with T-shirt kings, with gold for your mouth, what I would do is all of it is just service. It's just me making the shirts. You know what I mean? So you want to pick a business that you're really being paid off of your effort or some kind of skilled talent. and not trying to buy something and then hoping somebody comes in and takes it off your hands. Because when you buying shirts, just think about it, or clothes, pants, whatever it might be, everybody wears different sizes. So now when I buy, I gotta buy small, medium, large, extra large, and probably 2 or 3 in each size, just in case somebody come in and buy one, I won't have any left. So right away you starting to boom, and now so I did that for one shirt design that I like. Now I got to do it for another one, another one, another one. After a while, you got $10,000 tied up in inventory, and your store is slow, and people ain't nobody coming in. At least here, if it's slow, cool. I'm not just sitting here with all of this money tied up. You know, I can just wait for somebody to come in. Even with Gold for Your Mouth, people come in, we do their mold, pay half down, the other half when it's ready. Send it to my jewelers. It's almost like just being a broker. I take 2 people that want something, bring them together, get my profit out, and make sure everybody gets paid what they want. So that's when you looking to start a business, the 3 things that I would say is, 1, is it a service? 2, do I love to do it? And then 3, oh, it was something else that I said. I can't remember. But those 2 things are major. A service business, make sure that you love it. And then I said one other thing that I think is like really key with business.
I think
I
you
don't
said
know.
something about your inventory or something.
Oh yeah. So the inventory, yeah, that's part of just having a service business. There was another one though that I had told. But if y'all got another question. It feel cool. I mean, it's not really that hard. You know, you got them all in one spot. And it's good. You want multiple streams of income. You know, you want to have different ways people can come in, because when one thing is slow, hopefully the other thing is rolling. It just gives you the opportunity to, you know, be diverse. And I think that a lot of investors do that. You know, people that don't necessarily have a shop like this, but let's say that they are investing money in the stock market. You know, they might have money in Nike, then they might have money in Apple, they might have money in, you know, whatever, in Tesla. So I think people that's really getting it, they're gonna try to have at least a few ways that the money can come in, just in case one thing is down.
All right.
Yeah.
Do a few more. I don't know how many you have, Ron, but just do a few more.
More.
What role do you believe Black-owned businesses play in promoting economic equality and diversity?
What role do Black-owned businesses play in what again?
And promoting economic equality and diversity.
I mean, they play a role. Because I really feel like everybody should have a business. While y'all in school right now, honestly, if y'all could just find something to sell, just on the side, it don't got to be nothing that you do full time, but you should have something on deck. And even if you're working, because when you're selling something and you got a business, you got a whole economy right there inside your school. Like all of your classmates could be your customers. There's rare that you ever around so many people throughout the course of a day. When you're in college, you should have something to sell. Even if you work somewhere, you should have something to sell on your own. You go to work for them, but you still got something on deck for yourself. So find something, a service or some type of something that you can monetize for yourself. Because there's nothing better than, listen, you guys, start a business, right? Find something to sell and then sell it. Sell something one time. Bro, the joy that you get from that, especially when you just starting out. Like now, okay, somebody come in and buy something. It's not the same rush that I used to get, but man, it feels so good to have somebody come and buy something from an idea that you thought of. It'll turn you on. Your whole thing, you'll be like, yeah, I got it. and it helps you sustain, because people you hear know a lot, it'll be slow a lot, but you know, after that, it'll be, you'll start feeling good and stay motivated to keep going.
Is that your
That's
book
all.
right there?
Yeah.
My papa got that book sitting on the shelf in my office.
Do we?
I'ma ask you,
Y'all
can I
got
read
some
it?
of those at the shop. I mean, at the school.
You know Kevin Eason?
Yes.
That's my
That's
papa.
Izzy. Yeah.
That's our grandfather.
Man, that is my brother. He's part of this podcast.
We know.
Yeah, we've been knowing
Yeah, he
him,
always
man,
up here.
forever, man. Yes, man. He's just my bro. If I need something, I'm calling him.